Hello, Caroline. Are you there? Please reply if you're reading this. I wanted to ask you something. You married my son 2 years ago and came to live with us, but you're still working. Why is that? When are you going to quit that silly job of yours? You're going to be 30 in a few months, you know, right? You also know that my husband runs a company and someone has to take over that company after your husband. I suggest you start getting busy bringing a new member to this family. A male heir who will take over the company one day. Have you even put any thought into having a child? Besides, I sure would like to see a grandson soon. Good morning, Mother. I think I mentioned this numerous times, but the person that will take over as the president of your husband's company will be determined on merit. That's how your husband wants it. He's not going to have a family member just take over because this person is a relative. Well, that's all very virtuous and all, but that's not the real world, Caroline. In reality, my husband's company has been run by 3 generations of this family. It's been handed down from father to son for generations, and our company has profited because of it. Merit alone will not suffice. There is a little thing called tradition, which you seem to be lacking, Caroline. It has already been decided that your husband, James, will eventually take over as the next company president, and after him, his son, my grandson. Yes, well, tradition is all very good and all, but times have changed, Mother. I'm not saying it's wrong. If the person taking over is competent, whether that be James or someone else, I'm all for it. Will you stop contradicting me? You always find a way to refute everything I say. My husband has informed me that you are a very competent and reliable employee, but your competence and this issue are completely different. You are in no position to determine company policy. You're just another employee. I suggest you keep your nose out of it. I think that applies to you more than it does to me, don't you think? Pardon me? The person that will be promoted to that position concerns all the employees, and that person's decisions affect us all. You've never in your life worked at your husband's company. It seems obvious that it's you that has no right to decide who becomes the next company president or any other position. How dare you? How could you say that? I'm this company president's wife, for God's sakes. I certainly do have the right. Yes, I'm quite aware of that, but that makes no difference whatsoever. Makes no difference? Have you lost your mind, Caroline? I'm in possession of all my faculties, thank you. Do you really think that just because you are the president's wife that you can make such an important decision? Well, I have the right to. Just doesn't seem logical to me is all. This is getting nowhere. All you have to do is just stop complaining and work on giving us a grandson so that someday he will be able to take over this company and continue this long-established custom. If you have time to spurt such nonsense, I suggest you use your time more wisely by having a child. Right now, I'm giving my work priority above all, and I've talked long and hard about this with Jim. Pardon me? I know you complain to Jim about this matter all the time, and he gets irritated because you're so bullheaded about it. But could you not take that frustration out on me? I have other things to worry about. Jim said that? I wasn't trying to be difficult or anything. Just so you know, Mother, Jim is sitting right next to me and seeing this entire conversation. What? Are you serious? Why didn't you say so before? You better be ready for a line text from him later on, and it won't be a very pleasant one, I can tell you that. You tricked me into this, didn't you? You had him sit down and witness this conversation. How could you? Even if I denied such an absurd allegation, you wouldn't believe me, so what can I say? This is getting really exasperating, Mother. I really have to go. Goodbye. Caroline, are you seeing this? Answer me! I want you to come home right away and do a little cleaning. The place is a total mess. You married into this family and you live in this house. You have an obligation to do some of the chores. Sorry, Mother, I'm still at work and I have to do some overtime tonight. Got a project to finish up. Sorry. Are you serious? My husband left his position as president to become the chairman. There is not much time left for you to get to work conceiving a child. And why are you still working? There's no need. I want you to resign and stay home and fulfill your role as a wife. Excuse me? You want me to be an obedient little housewife? Is that it? Are you all right, Mother? You know I'm not the type. Like I said, I give my work priority above all. Are you still going on about that? Anyways, Jim did the cleaning as soon as he got home earlier. He just sent me a line saying that he finished. Wait, you're having James clean the house? And don't tell me he's also cooking. Yes, sometimes, anyways. We're not even living together anymore. How could you even know the place is a mess? We both share household chores. When he's busy, I do the cleaning and cooking. That's what we agreed on. I don't need you telling us what to do. Don't tell me you want me to come to your house and clean too. Is that what you're getting at? Is that what a housewife has to do? This sounds like your typical mother-in-law pestering her son's wife kind of scenario, like in some daytime soap opera. We didn't opt to live near you guys just so you would pester us day and night. How could you say that? It's a mother's duty to look after her son and, in extension, his wife. To pass the experiences of being the wife of a company president. I'm sorry, Mother, but before you start with all the same old hot air again, I received permission from Jim to respond however I saw fit. Just so you're aware. Jim gave you permission? And what's this about hot air? Also, I'm going to be pretty busy with this current project, so if you send me any messages that sound like the same old spiel, well, I'm simply not going to respond. Wait, what? So you're just going to ignore me, is that it? Yes, I already got Jim's permission to do it. Jim would never allow such a thing. I better have a talk with him about this nonsense. I really can't have you interfering with my work. We're in a crucial phase now, so I would appreciate your cooperation, Mother. You really know how to anger someone, Caroline. Yeah, well, whatever. How could you just ignore your mother-in-law, for Christ's sake? Always giving your work priority and shunning your responsibilities at home. What kind of a wife are you, anyway? I will make you listen and obey me. Mark my words, Caroline. You'll regret talking to me that way. Mother? Have you gone totally nuts? Why did you go into our house without permission? And why did you change the locks? How do you expect us to get in? Are you trying to lock us out of our own home? Do you realize what you're doing, Mother? And besides, where the hell did you get a spare key? I never gave you one, and neither did Jim. I simply took my son's key and had a spare made down at the mall. Hold on a second, Mother. You had a spare made without us knowing? Yes, when he visited us last month, I saw his key case on the kitchen table. And when Jim and my husband were watching that football game, I drove down to the mall and had a spare made. He never knew it was missing. You just went and made a spare key to our house? For what, may I ask? Yes, that's because you two would never give me one. Jim promised he would when you first moved in. If I don't have a spare, how am I supposed to go over there and check the place and see that you're doing your duty properly? Mother, do I really have to explain? Stop right there, Caroline. If you want to enter this house again, I suggest you admit that you were wrong and obey my every demand. I want you to pledge that you will never disobey me, the mother of your husband, the current company chairman. And you mustn't forget that I'm the current president's mother. I want your solemn oath that you will never, ever again defy or refuse to obey your mother-in-law. I want your word or you're not entering this house. Wait a second. Did you just say the current president's mother? I'm not sure I understand you. That's right. Why is it so surprising? Just leave company matters to the current president. That would be my son, and focus on conceiving a child. You're the president's wife. There's no reason for you to work. Do as I say, Caroline, or there will be consequences. If you're so dedicated to your job, well, You can continue, but that means you'll have to divorce my son. And that's final. Oh, okay. So that's what you want me to do, huh? You want me to just resign from this company? Am I understanding you correctly, Mother? That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Have you finally gotten that through your little head? There are plenty of other employees that can take your place. That's what a company is for. You work, and when your time comes, you retire to raise a family. It's the normal course of things. Simply just resign and focus on bringing us a grandson. That's your role. It's about time you learned that, Caroline. Oh, okay, Mother. That means we'll just have to see the demise of this company, I suppose. You're joking, right? The company won't go under just because one of its employees resigns. You hold yourself in too much regard, my dear. Mother, you never fail to astound me. I really thought you had the company's survival in mind and that you were serious in your concern regarding who would take over as president, but then you tell me that I have to resign, and not for the good of the company, but to have a baby. What are you trying to say, Caroline? My concern for the company and the family are clear-cut and logical. There is nothing irrational or unjustifiable about what I'm saying. Oh, but it is completely irrational in my opinion. Okay, so if you think what I'm saying is so irrational, then explain that to me. Which part of it is it that you find so unreasonable? Like I said, you attach too much importance to yourself. It embarrasses me whenever you applaud yourself, extolling the virtues of your own work all the time. I mean, how arrogant do you have to be to say the company will go bankrupt if you quit? My God, the audacity! Mother, I hate to tell you this, but I'm the new president of the company. Say again? What did you just say? I said, I'm the new president of the company. I recently took over. I'm surprised you didn't know. Stop joking around, Caroline. I'm serious. This is no laughing matter. This concerns the future of our family. The next president has already been determined, ever since he was born, as a matter of fact. How could he give that position to you, please? Then why don't you ask your husband or contact Jim right now and ask him? They will both tell you the same thing. Or you could even call the office and every employee there will tell you the same thing. This is some kind of prank, right? And what about James? What's James going to do? If he's not president, is he just a regular employee? That can't be. Jim's set to resign by the end of next month. Again, I'm surprised you didn't know. Resign? You're saying he's going to quit the company? Yes, he says he has other objectives, so for now he'll work freelance and see how things go. Freelance? Meaning he's not even going to be employed by a company? Yes, for a while, I guess, after which he says he will eventually start his own company. Start his own company? But why can't he just take over this company? Why would he start his own? Don't tell me you don't even know about that. I thought for sure you would know that. I didn't realize there was such a lack of communication in your family. Jim said that when he went to visit last time, he brought it up several times. He did? I never... He told me that your husband and Jim discussed this possibly years ago. Jim wanted his advice. After all, your husband built his company from scratch. Who better to get advice from, right? Huh? Really? And this was all before Jim and I got married. Neither my husband nor Jim mentioned anything. Oh, and as a side note, as for being selected as president of the company, both Jim and his father were explicit in their decision that I keep my business matters separate from my personal ones, meaning even if I became president, it would not affect our personal lives. And this decision does not mean that because Jim was not selected as president that I stole it from him. Please don't get that idea. Why wasn't I told about this? This is important. My husband nor Jim gave any clue as to what was going on. Caroline, answer me right this second. Why is my husband divorcing me? What did I do that was so wrong? Ever since you arrived, this family has gone totally haywire. You ruined our family, Caroline. And why did Jim throw away the opportunity to become the president of his own family business? And now he's a freelancer? Why? And my husband, he didn't lift a finger to stop him. As a matter of fact, he encouraged him to quit and become a freelancer. What has gotten into everyone? You put a jinx on this family, Caroline. But the worst was yet to come. They appointed you as the next president of our company? How did you manage to dupe everyone? And now my husband wants a divorce? This is like some nightmare. Well, for one thing, you came barging into the offices of our company announcing to everyone of your status as the president's wife, screaming and demanding that your son be appointed president and that after him, our non-existent son, your grandson, be in line to take over after him. That didn't go over too well, especially with your husband. He was humiliated in front of all of his employees. Well, I only did that to protect our... If that security guard hadn't stopped you, you were going to come barging into my office and make a scene. Weren't you? But your actions were futile. A complete waste of time. Did you really think that you would be able to change policy or any decision the company makes? You have zero authority to make such demands. But I'm the president's wife! It doesn't matter, Mother. I'm sure your husband told you many times about his frustration with the old traditions. That generation after generation you select a family member as president. It just didn't sit right with him. He wanted a more merit-based system. He believed a more equal and fair playing field would allow the company to grow beyond its wildest dreams, instead of clinging to old traditions. No, he never meant those things. He was always a family man, always followed tradition. Please, Caroline, talk to my husband and ask him to rescind this silly divorce. He doesn't need to do this. I'll change. Please convince him. I really can't do that, Mother. It's really not my concern. Why? Why can't you at least do this little favor for me? Please, Mother, work it out yourself. I have nothing whatsoever to do with your marriage. It's kind of late. I have to get some sleep. Goodbye. Please, Caroline, help me. Okay, I'll give you my blessing. How's that? I give you my blessing that you become the next president. Will you then help me in return? And about who will take over after you, well, I'll leave that up to you and James. You two can make that final decision. I won't interfere at all. What do you say, Caroline? Please? Please convince my husband to think it over. Please? Caroline, are you still there? Please don't cut me off. Please, Caroline, I need your help. Actually, my father-in-law told her that he was considering me as the next president, but she just wouldn't listen. Her mind just seemed to shut down whenever he brought up the subject. She couldn't accept the fact. The only thing that was on her mind was that her son was destined to become the next president, and that the wife would have to stay at home and have babies. Eventually, I was appointed as the next president, but that fact never entered my mother-in-law's mind in the slightest. Her son was the only person in the world that would be appointed, and that was that. There was no convincing her. She was so programmed by her self-delusions, a form of self-hypnosis, if you ask me. It was probably in that state of mind that made her barge into the office and cause the embarrassing scene in front of all those employees. My father-in-law was so infuriated by the incident that he began to question why he was even married to her, which eventually led him to file for divorce. After the divorce went through, she received a comfortable settlement and returned to her grandparents' home back east. But her spendthrift ways as the president's wife never really waned, and her savings quickly diminished. Her grandparents were worried that she would next target their meager savings and pension, and quickly cut ties with her. I heard she was living all alone in some beat-up apartment downtown doing various part-time jobs to make ends meet. Hi, sister. Can you talk right now? There's something very important I want to tell you. Oh, if it isn't Marissa. I'm currently doing work while on a bullet train. Could you wait until later when I'm not busy? No. I'm afraid I can't wait. What's with that reaction anyways? You sound almost as if you didn't want to see me. Anyways, this is something very important that has something to do with the future of the company, so it can't wait. What? The future of the company? But Marissa, have you forgotten that you have nothing to do with the company's business? Could you please not talk about the company's future, at least until after you find a job and stop doing nothing at home all day? Huh? It's fine if I don't have a job because I'm training to become a housewife. Unlike you, whose only merit is that you're willing to work all day, every day, I have a skill called femininity. Besides, I'm about to get married soon, and I won't have to work after that, right? I mean, seriously, Ida, why do you work so much all the time? Just get married and become a housewife or something. Not everyone shares the same values as you, Marissa. Some people find meaning in their jobs beyond just having to work to earn money. Wait, hold on. You had a boyfriend? And you're already going to get married to him? How come you never came to our parents' house to ask for their permission? You'll find out why soon enough. And of course I have a boyfriend, because unlike you, I'm not an old hag who became so busy with work that she forgot how to be a woman. Well, I'll agree that I am pretty busy with work, but what do you mean I forgot how to be a woman? And I have a fiance too, you know. If I start acting like a woman by your standards, then I'll soon be drowning in ribbons and lace and frills. I mean, I was able to get married, but on the other side of the coin, you're not going to be able to get married anymore. Besides, are you sure that you have a fiance? Huh? What are you talking about? What I'm trying to say is, me and Alberto are officially engaged now. That's what I wanted to tell you in the first place. What? By Alberto, do you mean my fiancé Alberto? Can you think of any other Alberto? I mean, of course I mean your fiancé Alberto. Marissa, what in the world are you talking about? Are you trying to say that you stole my fiancé? Yep, I'm being 100% serious right now. You see, the two of us are currently in a hotel together. What? Now? Yep, we've been going out for 3 months now. I'm impressed that you didn't notice a thing. It must be because all you think of all the time is that job of yours. Well, that's all I had to tell you. Make sure to cancel the wedding ceremony you had planned for next month, all right? Me and Alberto are going to plan our own wedding of our dreams from scratch. Is that so? I'm going to ask Alberto himself about this later, but if this is true, you better get ready for what's about to come, because I promise you two aren't going to get off easy. Yeah. What are you going to do, tell Mom and Dad? You say that like you're actually a person of importance. But in reality, you're just a slave to the company, right? Anyways, I already am ready, if that's what you're worried about. Ready to find happiness with Alberto, that is. You're just a nuisance, Ida, so just give up and step out of our way, all right? Hi, Ida. Did you already ask Alberto about the two of us or something already? You see, he came crying to me, saying how you were so scary when you got mad at him. He said you looked like the devil himself. I made sure myself that he felt better after that, though. In fact, he's currently fast asleep next to me, looking like he doesn't have a care in the world. Is that so? He's the one who did something to make me look like a devil, so it's his own fault. Besides, probably the only reason he was scared of me is because he felt ashamed about what he had done. I mean, it was only a month until we were supposed to have our wedding ceremony, after all. Huh? What do you mean he was ashamed? I mean, it's only natural for two people who are in love to go to a hotel together where they won't be disturbed. And I already told you about our relationship, right? What's there to be ashamed of? This is all your fault, and you're just being delusional. I'm trying to tell you that the two of you are being a bit too shameless about this. Never mind, you'll find out soon enough. I'm talking about canceling the marriage with Alberto, so do whatever you want with him because I don't care anymore. What? Really? Yes! Now Alberto is all mine. Thanks for stepping out of the way, sister. Finally, you understand that I'm just a better woman than you. Just go back to your work or something so you can forget all about this. I will, but I'm going to make you two pay me an alimony, all right? What? Yes, not just Alberto, but you too. What? You're going to make me pay one too? What for? For stealing my fiancé? He wasn't just my boyfriend, Marissa. We were engaged. So that means I have the legal right to ask you two to pay me an alimony. What, did you think that I wouldn't be able to ask you for an alimony because the fiancé you stole was your sister's or something? Too bad, but that's not the case. You've got to be kidding me, right? But isn't making your own family pay you an alimony a bit too evil? No, I'm not kidding. And what I'm doing to you is a lot less evil than what you did to me. Seriously, do you not even feel slightly guilty for stealing my fiancé? Oh, and I'll tell you this in advance. It's no use trying to rely on Mom and Dad for help. They're extremely mad about what you did right now. They even said that they regret spoiling you until now, and that they're going to make you leave their house. What? Why? But I thought that Mom and Dad were my allies. I'm so much cuter than you. Why would they side with you? There's no way they would side with you when you just stole my fiancé. Oh, and by the way, I'm not going to go easy on you just because you don't have any money and don't even have a job. There's nothing stopping you from getting a job if you want to, so you better find one soon. Otherwise, you're going to have to take out a loan to pay my alimony. By the way, nothing about you is cute, Marissa. Only idiotic guys think that. Oh, what did you just say to me? You're just jealous that I was always more popular with guys than you were, aren't you? Also, there's no reason for me to work. I'm not going to become a slave to a company like you. Yes, there is, actually. I'm going to make you pay at least the average amount. I don't know for sure, but that's at least 20,000 euros. You're so scary, Ida. Wow, so this is how ugly women behave when they're mad? Looks like you're the one who's an idiot. I don't need to find a job to pay your alimony after all. Too bad for you, I guess. Yes, I heard that you made Alberto pay for both your alimonies. And I even heard that you moved into Alberto's apartment after Mom and Dad kicked you out. Yep, the two of us are currently living together. Jesus, this is proof that you completely don't understand the position you're currently in. I wouldn't be so happy about this situation if I were you. Are you just being jealous now because he threw you away to be with me instead? Come on, Ida, it's unbefitting of someone so serious as you. Still, it's pretty funny, though I don't mind. Seriously? Whatever, I don't care anymore what happens to you. To be honest, I'm impressed at how dumb you are and how narrow your view of the world is. Huh? What in the world even is that? What does my view of the world have anything to do with this? I mean, you haven't even noticed yet that you're slowly but surely being pushed towards the edge of a cliff? What? But you're the one who's being pushed towards the edge of a cliff, aren't you? I mean, you're already 30, but you just got your fiancé stolen from you a month before you were supposed to get married? Really, I pity you so much. Good luck on getting married before you're 40. Because I heard that you can't have children after that. I don't think that's going to be easy, though, now that you're in your 30s and have already been divorced once. Maybe if you were pretty like me, you would have had a chance. Yeah, say whatever you want. You're just making a fool of yourself. I decided that I'm not going to tell you what's about to happen. What are you even talking about? You're the one who looks like a fool, Ida. I can kind of guess by your personality just what kind of misunderstanding you're currently making, but you'll find out on your own if you just talk to Alberto himself. Please, Marissa, could you at least try to not be so dumb and just talk to Alberto? It's honestly making my head hurt talking to you like this. You're just crying sour grapes. Besides, if Dad's going to marry Alberto, the next CEO of the company, to one of his daughters, then it should be me and not you, right? I mean, I am younger and more attractive than you. I see, so that's what you were after. I knew it. You did always talk about how you were going to just marry someone rich when I told you to get a job. Yes, I want to become a wife of a CEO. You see, whenever I look at you and how you always just work all the time, I think to myself, wow, I hope I never have to become a slave of a company like that. Getting a job is defeat for a woman. So don't you think that becoming a wife of a CEO is the smartest path to take? Just talk to Alberto for me, will you? You'll understand well then just how idiotic these thoughts of yours are right now. Yeah, you're just saying that because you're jealous Alberto chose me over you. I don't blame him, though. I'm better than you in every way imaginable, after all. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. You see, the two of us are going to be hosting our wedding ceremony in half a year. I'm going to make you come no matter what. You made me pay an alimony of 20,000 euros, right? Too bad, because now I'm going to make you pay 40,000 euros as a wedding gift. Jesus, talking to you really is pointless, it looks like. I'm not going to your wedding, and I'm definitely not going to give you any money. Hi, sister. Do you know what day it is today? Today is me and Alberto's wedding. Today is the day that will symbolize the start of my new life of only happiness with him. At the end of the day, you replied saying that you wouldn't come to all of my invitations, but Mom and Dad are going to come, so it doesn't matter, I guess. Yep, this proves it. They'd rather have a cute daughter like me than a woman like you who's just a slave to her company. You shouldn't get your hopes up regarding Dad. The only reason he came was to make sure that you wouldn't cause any more trouble than you already have. He's embarrassed just being there, you know. Mom, too. The only reason she came was because she wanted to get a last look at my failure of a daughter before I cut ties with her, she said. Huh? You're seriously still crying sour grapes? I mean, I'm about to become the CEO's wife, so I think it would be in your best interest not to defy me too much, you know. It must mean that you still haven't had a proper talk with Alberto if you can still say something like that. Seriously, it's been half a year, Marissa. We don't need to talk. We can communicate without using words, you know. It's something that only couples that are truly in love can do, but I guess you didn't know that. Ida, half of the seats in the wedding venue are empty. They all canceled at the last minute. Oh, is that so? Not only that, but when I told Dad that this behavior was too disrespectful when it's the next CEO and his fiancé that's about to get married, he said that Alberto wasn't going to be the next CEO. What in the world is the meaning of this? What? You're seriously only asking me that now? What do you mean I'm only asking you this now? I mean, Dad sent you to marry Alberto in the first place because he was going to be the next CEO, right? Did Alberto not tell you anything about it? Huh? But it's so obvious. There was no need to ask him about it. I mean, the only children Dad has is me and you. Which means that he would have to send one of us to go and marry the next CEO of the company, right? But I'm going to be the next CEO of Dad's company. What? You're going to be the CEO? Yes. It's been decided for quite some time now that I was going to be the next CEO. The marriage between me and Alberto was nothing as complicated as an arranged marriage for the company's interest or something. We were just co-employees that fell in love with each other. What? Then does that mean that Alberto's position in the company is... he's just a regular employee. A regular employee? Well, he used to be the head of the marketing department, but the company found out about how he was cheating on me and going on dates with you and saw that as a problem, and so he was demoted and his salary lowered. Huh? What's so wrong about going on dates with me? To put it simply so that even you would understand, he was punished for not coming to work and going on dates with you instead. What? Not only that, but apparently he used the company cars on these dates of yours to go to hotels or something. He was barely not fired from the company entirely, but it's true that he was a hair's breadth away from it. He was almost fired? Yep, his salary is much lower than it was before, and he's probably not going to be promoted in the future either. Half of this is your fault, and you should realize that. But... Ida! I asked Alberto to show me his bank account and only €5 were in it! Why is it so little? But I won't be able to buy the newest brand bags with this money! Do you seriously not understand yet, Marissa? Huh? First, Alberto paid for both the alimony I asked from you and from him. Next, you moved into his apartment since you were kicked out of our parents' house. Not only that, but you're unemployed and have no intention of getting a job since you believe that working is defeat, yet you love spending money and have zero experience saving any money of your own. He now has to pay for 2 people instead of 1 ever since you started living with him. And his salary is not even a third of what it once was since the company found out about what he was doing. Oh, and that wedding ceremony of yours was pretty expensive as well, right? But you couldn't even gather a considerable amount of money from wedding gifts since most of the people you invited ended up canceling at the last minute. Based on my calculations, you made Alberto use roughly €100,000 in just these 6 months, didn't you? €100,000? I heard from Alberto before that he had about €100,000 in savings, but looks like he's spent almost all of that now. Only €5 were left, right? This can't be happening, but this is completely opposite of what I expected. I thought I would be able to live a fabulous life as the wife of a CEO, never having to work a day in my life. I can't turn back now as well, since we already turned in the marriage papers. What should I do about this, Ida? Do you seriously not understand yet, Marissa? What? It's clear what you need to do. You need to get a job and work as well. You see, everyone in society has to, in general, work to make a living. You were screwed the moment you started thinking that working is defeat. If only the world worked differently, then maybe you would have gotten what you wanted. So if you don't want to join the dredges of society, because you're going to at this rate, go and get a job. Why do you have to say things like that to me? You're so mean, Ida. Not long after that, Alberto voluntarily resigned from his job. It looks like it was too difficult for him working at a place where his former fiancée and now also sister-in-law were going to be the next CEO. Apparently, he brought Marissa with him and moved to his hometown. I heard that he plans on getting a new job at a factory that produces dried foods owned by a relative of his. Marissa, who loved everything about the city and how everything was so busy and shiny, will probably find this new life in the countryside of hers difficult and boring. But since she could no longer rely on our parents, she had no choice but to go with Alberto. But it seems that her mother-in-law was quite the character. Apparently her conditions of letting the two of them live in Alberto's parents' house was that they would have to live with Alberto's parents, and she would manage everything related to their finances, including their salaries. My sister left the city shaking from fear, and it looks like this marriage of hers is going to be difficult in a lot of ways.